This is the after show for Monday Night Football. New York Jets took on the Arizona Cardinals. Did not fare too well. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Monday Night Football after show. New York Jets at Arizona Cardinals. Was not a pretty game, guys.
Not at
Not
all.
a pretty game at all. But before we get into it, we have a special guest from the NFL Network show Undrafted Season 3. We have Jeremiah Allison, former Washington State linebacker.
Woo!
Jeremiah, how you doing, man?
Pretty good about yourself.
I'm doing good.
So, we want to talk to you about Jeremiah's on season 3 of the show. And just briefly, we want to talk about the show. The show highlights players as they make their journey towards the NFL. And sometimes the road there has a few bumps and bruises, and you go off the written course. And so this season, Jeremiah's story is featured. So can you tell us a little bit how you got involved with the show, where you graduated from, and what were your expectations going into the draft this year?
Well, basically, how I got involved with the show, it was I always watched the show, but basically it was sent to me over email, and they basically said, you should be a part of the show called Undrafted. So at first I was pretty standoffish just due to the name of it.
Yeah.
But
Right.
because that's the thing. Most of everyone's dream is to get drafted. But once Michael told me that I can share my story and inspire others, I was all for it. So that's pretty much how I got involved with the show.
Now, I saw a video of your story for the people out there who are watching and don't know your story. Give a brief rundown of what your story is and how you got to where you are today.
Well, basically just, being patient, working hard, and, just first and foremost, keeping God first and keeping my mom's legacy alive. That's been a big thing of mine, just to continue to grow and make sure that she's, right there with me every step of the way.
So you went to Washington State University. You're a linebacker, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I went to Washington State and played there all 4 years. I started when Coach Leach first got there, so I'm part of Coach Leach's first class.
Okay, and so what were your expectations heading into the draft this year in the Combine? You were one of the top 3 linebackers from the regional Combine, so obviously the thoughts were that you would be with a team this season, and when it didn't happen, we get to see your journey from that point. What were the emotions that you were going through? How did you sort of deal with having that letdown or setback so early
Well,
in your
basically,
career?
it's something that I'm not, new to. For those who know me in depth, I didn't start right away when I got to Washington State. I was very patient. And when I got my start, when my junior year came around, I seized the moment. I took full advantage of it and ended up leading my team in tackles and, being, 5th in the Pac-12. So, this isn't new to me. So, going into the draft, when I didn't hear my name called and I didn't get the phone call, it was the matter of, wow, is this it? But, I've been hearing good feedback from teams. And one thing that I did was I made sure I prepared myself for life after football. So I just recently took the LSAT September 24th, and I get my scores back on Thursday.
Well,
Congratulations.
Yeah, good luck with all that. Now, so are you still pursuing a career in the NFL, or where are you with that?
Most definitely. My agent, he's still working for me, and he's getting good feedback from teams, and teams are saying I'm on their short list. However, that's something you really can't control. So, my thing is I'm preparing for longevity, and I let them handle that. But as far as training goes, I'm still training. I'm still working out. It's pretty much a lifestyle right now. I'm only 22 years old, so.
So can you give us a little bit more information about the training? Are you in the gym every day? Is it a couple days a week?
In the gym every day.
What kind of training are you doing?
Right now, so during the winter, that's when you get all your heavy lifting in. Right now, I'm just in shape and, making sure I stay. And I passed the eyeball test pretty much.
So if you were to have your pick of a team that you could go to right now where you think you can instantly help them this season, who would it be?
Giants.
Right now I would probably say either the 49ers, the Raiders. Anywhere where I'm needed, I'll play.
What is it about your game that you think would gel with those teams?
Basically, just my leadership and the fact that I want to be coached and get better as a player. I mean, being that I've been away from the game for X amount of time makes you miss the game. So, I mean, one thing that I definitely bring to the table is that hard work and determination.
So, not just linebacker, could you fit in on special teams?
I will play anywhere.
Best team player. Man, I was watching some highlights of you before I actually came in. You were a beast, man. And you turned that Washington State program around because, from what I know, they weren't anything to brag about up until recently. You guys won a bowl game last year. Am I correct?
Right.
So talk about that. Talk about turning.
Keep it near me. Keep it near me.
Talk about turning around a program like that. And did you choose Washington State on purpose to build?
Yes, I did. I mean, coming out, I had 15 offers, and
Dorsey Don, shout out to the Dons.
When I took my visit with the guys down there, I fell in love with the place, and I went to Dorsey High School, so we are rich in football tradition, so I was used to winning. So I wanted to go to a place and create a legacy and be remembered. And at Washington State, that's what we definitely did there.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. Undrafted airs Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. on the NFL Network. And
best of luck in your continued journey.
Definitely going to be rooting for you. Keep in contact with us. Let us know how everything goes. Definitely.
Almost definitely.
Absolutely, man. I actually hope to see you on my squad, the Giants. We need a good linebacking core. We haven't had one since LT came through, but
right.
And as a former Dorsey Don, briefly, shout out to you. Got to give that Don love.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Wait, when did you go there?
Yeah, we can just move on to the next topic.
We'll talk about that off the air.
We'll talk about that some other time, Jeremiah. Just, yeah, but we still have that love connection thing, though.
In all seriousness, thanks for coming on the show, and good luck not just in your football career, but with the LSAT.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Go Cougs.
All right, guys. Jeremiah Allison, what do you guys think?
It's good. It's smart that the thing I like the most about what he said is that he's preparing for life after football.
Right.
So while he's still pursuing that football career, he's making sure that he's preparing himself for other opportunities because that's what you got to do if you're in the NFL.
Yeah, I wasn't lying too when I said I watched footage of him just to prepare for the show, and I was like, wow, this guy is really good, like really effing good. I don't understand why some people get drafted, why some people don't, but I think Undrafted, the show on the NFL Network, does a good job of showing the process and the reasons for it. And I would watch the show. They're on season 3, Undrafted. Tuesdays at 9, right?
Yes, Tuesdays at 9. They've won an Emmy for previous seasons. Yeah. I think it's important to see that we hear the stories of so many guys that make it through and how hard it is to climb up. To hear about somebody who thought or had the expectation that they were going to be stepping onto the NFL field in a couple of months. What do you do? How long do you keep after your dream before you start looking at a plan B? I saw one of the guys that was featured this season was like, he doesn't have a plan B. So, it's something to think about because Will Smith said that he never had a plan B because plan A had to work. So
right, and plan B is make plan A work.
Right.
So, all right, guys, let's get into the game. I actually didn't allow us to introduce ourselves, which is like hosting 101.
We just jumped in because we were really excited about our guest.
That was terrible, but let's do that now. I'm Josh Rodriguez. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh_Rodriguez_.
I'm Jill Munroe. You can find me everywhere at Stiletto Jill.
I'm Michael Rippe. You can find me all over social media at Mike Rips, MikeRips.
All right, guys. So the Cardinals right now, they're up 28-3.
They are.
It looks like that's how it's going to end. 2-minute warning.
Run game. That's
David
the theme
Johnson,
of the night.
Man.
David Johnson.
Beast.
Johnson must be a magic last name for the Cardinals the past couple of years.
Yeah, because Chris Johnson filled in for them admirably last year before he got hurt.
800-yard rushing, which was, I know he almost had 2,000 yards a few years back with the Titans, but I think that was pretty good of a comeback for him.
But
single-handedly tonight, David Johnson winning the game.
But again, Ryan Fitzpatrick, guys, looks terrible. Geno replaced him in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that's a permanent move? What do you think?
And funny enough, if we came on air, Geno threw an interception.
Did he? Oh, my goodness.
Whoop.
And since we came on the air, Carson Palmer got injured.
Wow.
So I don't know how serious it is, but he's out of the game now. Probably not too serious.
What do you it said injury. It wasn't they pulled him because...
Yeah, no, something happened.
Oh, man.
It doesn't look terrible, but...
All right. Well, back to the Fitz question. You think the Geno replacement is for the season?
I think they got to do something.
Yeah.
Well, the season is lost. They're 1-5.
Right.
And Ryan Fitzpatrick
was
been
not
awful.
the answer.
They struggled all offseason trying to find a deal that worked for both of them. They weren't committed to him, and they finally said, we'll give you $12 million, and he's been horrendous.
Yeah.
Some of the interceptions tonight were just disastrous, and just the way he's playing, he instills no confidence in the team, and they look like a dead team, the Jets.
What do you think, Jill?
Basically, I have to agree with Michael. I think that they need an overhaul in the worst way, and I know that they just had one a couple of years ago, but their parts aren't gelling together. I expect a bit more from a defense under Todd Bowles, at least, and their defense is underperforming. I mean, if the run game is running you down like that, you have issues that are far-reaching, and it's just sad for Jets fans.
And actually, you just led me into a segue because I was going to ask you guys about Todd Bowles. He came in here for his defensive principles. I mean, a change up from Rex Ryan, who was more boisterous.
And speaking of Todd Bowles, he's former Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator.
I mean, he and Bruce Arians have a long history. That was his college coach. So.
Yeah. So he came in here. You'd figure the Jets would be good on defense because that's his forte. And they've been terrible against the pass too. I know you mentioned the run, but they've been awful against the pass this year as well.
In fact, their pass defense has been really terrible.
Yeah.
But their run defense has been pretty decent. Tonight they're awful.
You
across the board.
David Johnson.
Yeah.
David Johnson's one of the top running backs in the game.
Yeah.
He can do it all, and he ran them over. He had 22 attempts for 111 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Beast. Fantasy
Longest
football.
run of his career on the first drive of the game.
Was it 58 yards?
Yeah.
That was his longest run?
Yep.
Wow.
His pro career.
So, I mean, he's a young guy.
I know. I just feel like
He's come onto the scene quickly.
Yeah, I
But
feel
you
like
would
he's
think
had,
maybe he'd have something longer.
like a
but
70-yarder or something like that.
That was it.
All right.
he's a power back. He's one of those guys. There's not too many left of him where he's a 3-down back, and he's a big dude.
Workhorse.
Yeah. He's a beast.
I have him as a top 3 running back in the NFL.
Yeah, I do too. Him, Le'Veon
Bell,
and Adrian when he's healthy.
And without Adrian, you might have to say Ezekiel now. Elliott. He's coming on strong.
He is.
The Cowboys looked really good yesterday.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that later.
Well, can I talk about this game tonight and a trend that I'm seeing, not just on Monday night games, but Thursday night games, and 2 things. First, I think that the product, the game of football this season has been completely diminished. And we're seeing it, I think, a lot of times in prime time because you're focusing just on one game. When you watch the games on Sunday, if you're at a bar and you see all the games, you don't really see it as much because you have a lot of games going on and it's not like that. But when you watch one game at a time, usually these games in prime time, there's just too many flags. And you don't even understand some of the flags. You don't know, like tonight there was flags for pass
I'm going to look that up right
7 or
now.
8,
There were 17 combined last time I checked.
And half the time you don't know what is what. You don't know what the catches are anymore. The game isn't that fluid because of the flags, and the whole product of football is just not as good this season as it's been in the past. And I think this is a direct reflection of the commissioner and his dictatorship ways in the NFL.
Mike is coming with the hot takes every week.
Well, I think we're starting to see it really, because if you watch, and we're starting to see it on Thursday Night Football that we recap, we're seeing it oftentimes on Monday Night Football. These games are not good. They're not exciting. And there's a lot of confusion on what's going on with why there's flags. I watched the game tonight. I don't know what's going on half the time. Well, like, why is one time it's pass interference and the other time it's not? Yeah. We saw this. It was they did that on Sunday in Seattle. They missed a big call. We're seeing it all over the league, and I think it's because Roger Goodell has instituted so many different policies, and it's really affecting the way the viewer watches the game. And viewership is down this season. We have to talk about that. Ratings are down across the board.
And a lot of people were
Double
blaming
digits.
like Kaepernick and his stance on the national anthem.
There's a lot of things, and just because it's such a physical sport now that people are starting to turn the TV off. It's not just because there's an election season, and I think it's just something to know. I'd love to hear what people are, if they're in the live chat or watching this at any point, what they think about it, because it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And also the whole idea of no one's able to celebrate anymore or do
anything.
anything.
It takes the fun out of everything.
It's becoming it's becoming a diminished product. It's not, you don't notice it one day, but over time you can see that it's diminished. The games are not that good. I don't know if there's too many players, too many teams, but we have every week really we're not getting good games in prime time.
Yeah.
It's, even last night's the Sunday night game is supposed to be the big time game now, and that game was close, but it was terrible.
It was terrible up until the last 2.5 minutes.
I mean, it was exciting because it was a tight game and went to overtime.
But at the end, it took to.
Yeah, but the gameplay, the actual game of football, is not that good.
Jill, what do you think? You feel the same way?
Mike has the steaming hot flames.
I got some more.
Oh wow!
Just save it.
I just the product is going down. I mean, the outside issues aside, just what's happening on the field, I think that I know the focus has shifted sort of to defense-minded teams, and I'm not exactly mad at that, but we know in theory that should keep scoring down, but that hasn't happened. So I just feel like there's a shift happening within the game as they try to adjust to things like with CTE, where do we hit them out?
Right.
You know, all those little things are playing a part in the game sort of being broken down and not the game that the consumer has come to love. So I'm not really sure where it's going to end up at. I mean, obviously, people love football, so it's not going to disappear, but I don't know. How do you guys feel about the season overall? Are you still enjoying the product when there is a good game on?
Yes and no. I mean, I think a big reason why I still do is because I love fantasy football. So every week's exciting for me, even if it has nothing to do with the result of the game. I'm rooting for one of my players on my team. Like I do DraftKings every week, so I'll have a player on my DraftKings lineup who I'm rooting for, and I think that actually is almost, I wouldn't say saving the league, but it's helping the league out a lot, and I wonder where it would be without that.
Oh, fantasy football has been one of the big drivers in the growth of football, and you're right, because you don't need to have your team can be bad, but now you have players you can root for. So you're absolutely right when you say fantasy football keeps you interested. It keeps me interested.
But players are resentful of that.
I mean, in general,
they are.
The players can't have fun. There's really not clear officiating, and it's really coming down to now, if you watch the games, it's really about quarterback play. If you have a quarterback, your team is good. If you don't have a quarterback, your team is not good. And that's a direct reflection of tonight in the Jets. Ryan Fitzpatrick, because they have players. Ryan Fitzpatrick has been awful, and they're not good. And they have good players. I mean, they have Matt Forte. They have Brandon Marshall. They have guys that have gotten
They have people on the defensive end, too.
So, well, kind of on that, the Cardinals season has sort of been up and down. They haven't performed as expected, and they have we hope they still have a quarterback after tonight, but they have a great quarterback. What do you attribute their struggles to this season?
Well, I think that he's not been great, and that's the thing. He's been great in past seasons, but he's been bad this season, and so when he's been bad, they've been bad.
Right.
And I think even tonight he was
decent.
He had a good game tonight, but you saw that they rolled because they were led by their running back,
right.
And they did that, and that got the job done, but. You're seeing it across the league. Even look at Pittsburgh this weekend. They lost Ben Roethlisberger. They lost to Miami. I know he came back. He was injured for a little.
He played terrible, though.
And he was terrible.
Game, yeah.
But you can look around the league. Cleveland, I mean, they don't have a quarterback. There's so many teams that they don't have quarterbacks. They're not competitive.
Yeah. Oh, Rams. Shout out the Rams. They're 3-3.
They are, and it was really
Jeff
close
Fisher.
yesterday, but
Mr. Mediocre.
As are the Cardinals now. So the Cardinals
are 3-3.
tie the Rams. They are currently behind. I just had
Seattle.
Seattle, right? Yeah. Seattle's what?
Seattle's probably 5-1 now,
because they had a great win yesterday,
or maybe 4-1 if they have to buy.
So Cardinals. I mean, this is a team that a lot of people picked to go to the Super Bowl. I know. I actually picked them. I know we didn't have the official picks, but they were my pick from the NFC to go to the Super Bowl.
I think that the Cardinals have righted their ship.
So you think?
I think they've gotten through a little tricky part where they started really slow, and I think that they're starting to they're back. I'm not. They got to fix some things, but I thought that tonight's game, they got them to 500, and you saw that they relied on their young running back who's a stud, and he played well. And if they can continue that theme and incorporate the defense and get everything
defense is solid
back,
too.
then that's a team that we still got a lot of time in the season.
Yeah.
Well,
They're still in 3-3. They got plenty of time to get in the mix and be there, and I expect them to maybe not win the division now, but to definitely be in the playoffs.
Definitely a wild card team.
their schedule is sort of up, and they play the Seahawks next weekend, and then after that, the Panthers. Panthers are done for the season.
and that Seattle game is going to be in Arizona, so that's a huge game, and I think Arizona will win that game.
Okay. Well, Palmer needs to play.
Yeah, he does. Agreed.
Yeah.
But I think that because Seattle has their own issues at quarterback with Russell Wilson. But yeah,
He's a little gimpy. Panthers, there's a bye week, and then they come back and play the Niners, and then the Vikings and Falcons. So
some tough ones in there for sure.
Vikings, Falcons.
Falcons back to back, and then Redskins, who have
they've turned
picked
it on.
up. Yeah, they've turned on. So interesting. Their last two games, they'll be fine after that.
So closing
Saints.
thoughts on the game before we actually get into our Week 6 recap. Overall thoughts.
I think everyone would probably say they're just impressed by David Johnson.
Very impressed by David Johnson, dominating linebackers. Over 100 yards in the last 5 games.
Beast.
So
He's a beast.
if you don't have him on your fantasy team,
You ain't getting him because no one's going to
right? It's a wrap.
All right, guys. So let's review Week 6 and go around the league. First, I'll start. In Buffalo, Kaepernick got his first start and did not fare too well against the Bills. Bills beat the Niners 45-16.
How are we feeling about the Bills, though? They've turned it around since they fired their offensive coordinator.
I'm not sold on them.
Impressive wins, though. They've had, dominating
They
wins.
beat the Cardinals.
They really have turned it on, and I was quick to think that this would be Rex's last season. I'm not sure it's not, but he's done a good job of turning that around. I'm surprised. But also, LaShawn McCoy has been incredible.
Oh, did you see
One of the
how he
top running
danced
backs
all
himself.
over Chip Kelly? I think that was an extra little bit of zhush on Sunday.
He's been electric, and if he can stay healthy and they can ride him, they have a good chance to be a playoff
And
contender.
Tyrod's solid. He takes
does.
care of the ball. He's mobile.
Buffalo has an interesting style of play, though, because they kind of hit you with the big play.
Right.
Or they have LaShawn. Like, Tyrod's the type of guy that he's hitting you. He throws a really nice long ball. Mm-hmm. And I know they don't have Sammy Watkins, but Marquise Goodwin, he's fast. And so they play a different type of game, Buffalo. But they've been getting it done lately. And LaShawn McCoy, though.
Amazing.
He's been really, really good.
And it had to feel really good, like you said, to dance all over Chip Kelly's defense like that.
Well, I mean, Chip Kelly isn't long for the NFL.
Chip Kelly needs to go.
If you
His
ask
style
me-
of play does not
Well, he had
work.
2 10-6 seasons to start his
He
career.
did, and it looked really exciting. And it doesn't. Something's amiss because his offense isn't doing anything amazing.
Well, I don't
now.
think he has the personnel, to be honest with you.
Well, he was in control of the personnel when he decided to go with Gabbard over Kaepernick, or
Right.
even deciding to go with both of them as a thing. It's just, I think that he's going to be in the college game soon again, especially with openings at big schools like Notre Dame could open up, and LSU and USC. I wouldn't be shocked to see Chip Kelly.
I think
move
his
on.
temperament is better suited for college. Just he's used to dealing with college players. I think that it's more impressionable with the type of players he's dealing with. I think that there's a connectivity issue in the NFL.
And I also think his system is probably more suited to the college game, and we're
I
seeing
agree.
that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. All right, the Jags beat the Bears 17-16. That's a big win for the Jags. I mean, that division's not looking too good. No one's really running away with it. So.
The Jacksonville saved themselves. They got a score late in that one.
Very late.
That was very late, and that was big. And Blake Bortles looked terrible again. And
Very disappointed in him this year.
yeah, everyone's looking for a
that
big
offense.
step from them,
Yeah.
but they haven't taken it. I think their defense has some players, and I'd like to see another year of growth. I'm not sure that he's the future. That's my thought.
I
They're
thought
just,
he was. I thought he was.
Yeah, I think that they're just lucky to be in the right division.
Yeah.
Even though Houston's got the lead in that division.
I agree. Jill, your Rams lost to the Lions 31-28. Break
Yes,
it down
they
for
did.
me.
That was a great game. It was painful. I thought the Rams had it in the bag.
You did?
And then
I
you
did.
remembered that Case Keenum was the quarterback and
And
Jeff Fisher's the coach.
Can I tell you that I don't even know the Rams quarterback's name?
Case Keenum.
Really? What kind of fan are you?
Can
A
I?
new one? A new one who doesn't understand how you can have the number 1 draft pick and he's
Yeah.
not seeing any field time and just not really. The Rams have been impressive in spurts, but I think it was you last week, Mike, that was saying you don't think that it's real.
No, it's not. It's clearly.
So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like I can't even look forward to them growing because it just sort of feels
Yeah.
like they're treading water.
Until Goff gets on the field.
Currently, exactly. Well, I think realistically that the Rams will never be a serious contender for anything until they get rid of Jeff Fisher, because Jeff Fisher's whole career has been about being mediocre, and he's
Shots
right
fired.
there. Yeah, that's fine. That's right. I'm just calling it the way it is.
Yeah.
They're 3-3. They'll probably end the season. The Rams will end the season somewhere between 7-9 and 9-7. Probably 8-8.
Yep.
And that's how it's going to be. And they're going to win a game that you think that they should lose, and they're going to lose a game that they should win. And their quarterback is Case Keenum. It doesn't make any sense. They had the number 1 pick. They chose Jared Goff. He can't get on the field.
Especially with Dak playing the way he's playing and
Right.
Carson playing the way he's playing.
That just makes it
Cody
worse.
and
Cody
Cleveland.
Kessler's
Yeah.
playing. And that makes it worse. But it shouldn't matter what anybody else is doing. You have the first pick in the draft. You don't have a guy in front of him that's good. Get Jared Goff on the field.
Yeah.
He can't get on the field. Like, I don't
he
understand
needs to get
this.
some snaps in.
You actually had a cool tweet.
Of course.
I
That's-
retweeted it.
I've been pushing this
Say
idea
it. Tell everybody.
that Tony Romo should get traded to the Rams. And I understand that they used a lot of draft picks already to get to Jared Goff, but Tony Romo is the perfect quarterback in LA. I get that he has issues staying on the field and being healthy, but if you put Tony Romo on the Rams right now, they're immediately interesting. That's it. I don't know how it turns out, but they're interesting because Tony Romo's a heck of a lot better than Case Keenum. He's a big name. This is LA. You're going to get the fans in the seat. They're going to be contenders. That would turn To me, I think the Rams would be contenders and not pretenders if they had Tony Romo. And if you're so worried about Jared Goff needing time to groom, this is the perfect person. Put Tony Romo in for a couple of seasons, and then when he can't play and Goff's ready,
seasons.
I mean, do you think that Jared Goff is playing next season? Because at this rate, I don't think that Jared Goff's getting on the field for.
They don't seem high on it at all.
It seems like he's supposed to sit for a couple seasons.
I think they
Which
they
is
made a mistake on
questionable.
him.
I think so too, because the fact that he is just glued to the bench doesn't even seem involved when he's on the sideline watching the games. I mean, it seems off-putting. Your idea with Romo, obviously, because he shouldn't see the starting field again.
Well, because
in
Dallas
is developing their young.
They have Dak Prescott. He's been incredible. Obviously, everyone is suggesting he should stay. That's fine. Tony Romo's a really good quarterback. That can't be forgotten here. You could say he's injured, he's delicate. Tony Romo's a top quarterback in the NFL. And for LA, they have a new team. They want to be competitive. They have a quarterback that's young. They're not putting on the field. I would go out and try to get Tony Romo, and I think there's a chance that they could if they were willing to offer the right picks. I'm not saying give up your next two firsts or anything crazy, but I think Jerry Jones also would. He loves Tony Romo.
He's not going to do it.
Well, if he was going to trade Tony Romo, I think he would give them the opportunity. Like, okay, LA, that's a good situation for Romo.
Yeah.
You're in LA, entertainment capital. You've got opportunity. And the Rams, like I said, I think with Tony Romo, that's a contender.
Why is it on no one's radar?
Because trades don't usually happen.
And the NFL trades don't happen that frequently. That's true, but it should be. I don't care if it's on anyone's radar. I'm trying to put it on the radar. Let's go.
Punch it.
All right, moving on. The Titans beat the Browns 28-26. Like you said, that's your sleeper team.
The Titans, and not because I think they're that good.
Right.
I just think it's a division, and I was really excited about that when I thought Houston was going to lose before they made that comeback.
Yeah.
But I think Tennessee's going to win that division. I don't think they're that good, but I think DeMarco Murray's been great.
Yep.
Mariota's pretty average. I don't like Mike Mularkey, their coach. They just are in the right division. I think they're going to get to 8 wins just by chance, and I think that's going to be good enough because I don't trust in any other teams in that division.
I trusted the Colts, and I thought that
I trust Andrew Luck, and nobody else.
I trust Andrew Luck too, but I mean, you had a 2-touchdown lead. We can talk about that game right now. They go down to the Texans 26-23
in overtime.
It's
a terrible loss.
You have 2 touchdowns with.
You know what? And during the game, at the end, they were playing to not lose.
Exactly,
at the end.
and that's how you lose when you play
not to lose is when you lose. So they deserved it.
That cost them their season, in my mind.
I agree, and because if they win that game, they're right there.
Exactly. Everyone's 3-3.
They're right there, and now I think they're done. But I mean, Andrew Luck is that team and nobody else. I mean, although Vontae Davis is back and he's good in the secondary.
So Jill, Titans, Texans, Colts. Out of those 3,
who you got?
Jesus, I would go with the Texans.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm lukewarm on all 3, right?
Yeah.
Fair.
Look at what's happening. I still think that the Colts still are reeling internally from some of those conversations that happened early in the season. You know, Andrew Luck is just there. He's solid. But to your point, what else is happening around him?
Right.
The Titans, they're not a team I pay attention to.
I'm most worried about Andrew Luck's career. This is a guy that we should be seeing play big time games. He's special, and he's gonna be. I'm not worried just about this season. I'm worried about the future in Indianapolis because they don't have a future. They don't have like these young guys all around them where you could see them building. They're regressing.
They don't have a line. They don't have a
That's
line.
fine. They have some athletic players, but you could put anybody around Andrew Luck and he'll make them better.
But do you think that is a testament to how the NFL is going now, where there's only like 10, maybe 13 teams that
I think it's a testament to the terrible job that the general manager and that the coaches have done there to really diminish what they had. They've gone the wrong way with Andrew Luck as far as talent and team.
They bet the farm. They Jetson Peyton.
I mean, they were in the AFC Championship game 2 years ago.
They're going the wrong way.
They definitely are.
And that's unfortunate because Andrew Luck's a stud.
Yep. Your Dolphins beat the Steelers.
It's such a Miami thing. I can't even get excited about it.
I did not expect that at all.
No one did.
But isn't that just
we could chalk that up as a fluke victory?
That was the Pittsburgh was in Miami. They were at the club
late.
I thought
the
went to the club late.
They can't go to the club.
They went to the club late. Guaranteed.
They have curfew.
No, not in Miami. You know what? Pittsburgh does this every season. There's usually one game where they lose, and you're just like, "What happened?" You have no idea how it happened. I think that was the game. Although I was impressed by Jay Ajayi. And I
don't think you're getting that again, though.
No, I mean 200 yards. No, of course not. But he ran well, and I was impressed by Adam Gase. I like him as a coach. I think he's going to build something over time. I don't think it's this season, of course.
Yeah.
But he's making some moves that I like. So we'll see.
All right. Brady continues his hot streak, 35-17 over the Bengals. Patriots doing Patriot things.
Patriots are, they're the cream
Patriots
of the
win.
AFC. And
Gronk got his first spike.
Gronk, he
Gronk had a big
finally
game.
was. I mean, the last 2 weeks he's been really good, but this week he was especially good. And the Patriots they're the giant. Of course, they're just there dominating. And I'm more worried about the Bengals.
They're not going anywhere to me.
This is a team that
They're
coming
gone.
into this season was
Yeah.
one of the top teams that everybody's looking at, and now you have to wonder if they're even going to get to the playoffs.
Yeah. Jill, I mean, you called this one. Saints 41, Panthers 38. What's going on in Carolina?
I think that it's Super Bowl hangover. Cam is very petulant, so when things start going his way, it seems like, dark cloud snowball. Like
Yeah.
when you see a toddler have a tantrum and then just like they need to take a nap and they'll be back refreshed and rejuvenated. I kind of feel like that's what's happening with Cam. Just they can't get it together. The pieces that they lost in the offseason affected them more than what they expected. I know that they were kind of trying to attribute some of that to Ron Rivera and his system, but obviously they're missing things from their offensive line. It just
Yeah.
isn't coming together. It's not their season, so boop.
Well, my thing with Cam is, like, you can't act the way he acts in a press conference and not think that your team's not feeding off of that energy. I mean, I don't care if you answer questions to the media. I mean, people make a big deal out of that. Like, it's your obligation to answer the media. And I don't really think it is. It's whatever. You're your own person. But at the same time, the energy that he's giving off to his team is almost...
He's their leader, so they're going to look to him
They're
for
feeding
leadership.
off of that. I don't
Exactly.
think,
Is
I don't
this
think
a
he
flip-
realizes that.
Is it a flip side of passion? Is it just because he's internalizing losing and that's sort of what happens with him?
I wouldn't say he's a sore loser. No one likes to lose, right? And that's okay. It doesn't bother me that he's acting that way, but I think that you have to have a positive message with it. You know what I mean? You can still kind of get up there like, man, we lost, but at the same time, say, we're going to turn this around. I believe in my team. We have the players to do so. And he just doesn't do that.
I still feel like he's also too struggling because he was so heavily criticized last season, and I know he says he's built for it.
Yeah.
But I feel that he tried to change certain elements of his personality to make it a little more benign, and I think that it impacted him on the field as well, even though some of those things are just things that Cam does.
Cam being Cam.
Yeah.
My Giants, 27-23 over the Ravens. Odell Beckham finally breaks out. 222 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And a proposal.
He's getting
he
married.
in the net.
He's getting married to the net. Congratulations,
And then,
guys.
a little Marvin Gaye moment on the field. He took it down.
I gotta say, Odell Beckham is super talented, and when he's on the field, he does awesome things. But whatever he's doing off the field and on the sidelines is a joke. I'm serious. First of all, I have no faith in the Giants anymore. Their coaching staff is a joke. Ben McAdoo has no control of that team.
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything to anybody when anything happens bad. You could tell he has no control. He's allowing this to go on, and you can't tell me that team is gonna do things when Beckham scores a great touchdown, by all means, a play that probably only he can make, and then goes to the sidelines, and I'm all for fun celebrations. This whole net thing is tiring.
I think it should end right now.
Enough.
That was the last one.
It.
It's such a it's
done.
such a it's all about me. That's
Yeah.
all he was doing. Like, he could have scored the touchdown, done some cool celebrations, and the whole net thing is like, I don't even think it's funny. I think it's stupid, to be honest. But besides that, it's just a bad look for the whole team. It's just all about Odell, and it should be all about Odell winning the game and being awesome. And then it just seems like there's something else there to him. You said petulant earlier. I think that Odell Beckham is super petulant. It's all about him. He couldn't just win the game and be stoked with his team. It was more like he's doing the lay down and the proposal and the move. And I get it maybe one time, but like last week, this week, it's enough.
And the way he's doing the proposal too. I mean, just the whole all the media
is around him.
I don't think I've ever seen something like that on the sidelines while the game was still going on, where everyone's just rushing to get a picture of what Odell's doing.
I just think it's a bad look because I think the Giants are going to veer off course. I think they are veering off course because they should have won that game easy.
Yeah.
And the Ravens are not a good team, in my opinion. And it's just, I think you're going to get to the point later in this season and you're going to be like, how did we get here? And this is how you got there, because Ben McAdoo doesn't make his main player stand up for his actions. And just don't do that. That's just silly.
The Redskins 27-20 over the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles slipping, Redskins on the way up.
Yeah.
Do you guys expect this trend to continue? Jill, what do you think?
That was an interesting game for me.
Yeah.
The Redskins are a team that you never believe in, but they're going to slip into some of those unconventional wins. No, really, it's just going to kind of happen for them and come together. I still think that they will lose it in the end. Okay, that's just it. I think that they'll have this little gelling come together, but by December, I feel like they'll start to come back apart. I don't believe in them.
I think they're both going to be competitive the rest of the season. The Eagles, they have the rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
He's still playing well.
I believe more in the Eagles than I would the
Oh, you do?
Redskins.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles, I think they're a legitimate good football team. I just think people got carried away a little bit the first 3 weeks. But I still think they're good and they can contend. I think
Definitely
anyone in
competitive.
the NFC East can
Both of
contend.
those
to be
teams are
honest with you.
competitive.
Yeah. So the Chiefs, 26-10 over the Raiders. That kind of shocked me.
Yeah, that was the one thing that didn't surprise me this week. I actually thought the Chiefs would win because Andy Reid off of bye is something like 15-2.
Yeah.
He's really good off of bye, and I still like the Raiders. I like the Raiders in that division. I think I talked about that, and they're right there. But the Chiefs off of bye, Andy Reid is gonna have that team prepared, and they're gonna be right there.
Yeah, they got Jamal Charles back.
They did. Spencer Ware was incredible. I wouldn't be surprised. This might sound outlandish if Denver's the third best team in that division by the end of the season. We'll see.
Okay.
But
All right, and then Cowboys, big win in Green Bay, 30-16. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, these are two rookies, man. They're taking over the NFL. They're 5-1. People are talking Super Bowl with this team if they stay together.
Dez still isn't back.
Dez isn't back.
Yeah,
the
they've done it
defense has been
without Dez.
playing solid.
Do you think that
Best-
Dez gets traded this offseason?
No, I don't know.
No.
No, God, no.
you don't trade Dez Bryant.
Absolutely
You
not.
don't?
Do you think?
I just
No chance.
My question is, I just think that with the development of some of these players, I don't know if Dez's ego is going to be able to handle that. And I feel like
I get what you're saying. But you see him on the sidelines. He's happy for everybody. He's clapping. He's pumped.
The Dallas Cowboys
Yeah.
were like Dez Bryant was made to play on the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for Jerry Jones' team, he's the perfect Cowboy. But that's a great team. We're gonna have to see what happens with the Romo Dak thing. There's still a couple weeks. Everyone's saying Romo shouldn't get his job back.
Yes.
We'll have to see what happens over the next couple weeks. I'm more concerned about the Packers on the flip side. I told you I don't like what Mike
look good.
McCarthy's doing. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look great.
He doesn't look good. They're not. I don't think they
doesn't look
use
happy
Lacey
either.
properly.
No.
Jordy's not having. Jordy's playing okay.
Still coming back from that
Yeah.
injury. So they're
Cobb is not being. I don't think they're using their players correctly.
Yeah.
But that's just my take on it. And then last game, Seahawks 26-24.
snuck it out over Atlanta, who's a real team this year. They should have won that game,
Yeah.
Atlanta, but they got a terrible pass interference call against that wasn't called. Richard Sherman basically holding Julio's arms.
Right, and that late pick by Matt Ryan cost them.
Yeah, so that's a good team though, Atlanta.
But the Seahawks all branded together at the end, when Richard Sherman was
Yeah,
going off on them on
yeah.
the sideline. So I think maybe that was just a little teamwork confusion jumping off.
All right. Well, that was our Week 6 wrap-up, guys. Thanks for joining us. That was the Jets getting demolished by the Arizona Cardinals 28-3. Guys, hopefully next week
Get something better.
we get something better. Who do we have next week? We got, let me look it up.
Can't be worse than tonight.
Thursday
Houston
is big.
at Denver. Big game.
Brock Osweiler's back.
Womp.
I'm not really excited about that. You can't sell that. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Rodriguez. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh_Rodriguez_. And for the record, I have the Broncos next week.
I'm Jill Munroe. You can find me at Stiletto Jill or JacksonStilettoJill.com for all your sports and pop culture gossip.
It's my favorite blog on the web. My name is Mike Orby. You can catch me on social media. Let's talk football at Mike Rips, MikeRips.
Special thanks to Jeremiah Allison. Thanks for joining us.
See you next week.
Undrafted NFL Network.
See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.